Drink from the hose. We've got a lot to get through. Believe it or not, in the next 2 hours, we're going to go through 103 slides. Don't be alarmed by that. Just let it all flow through you. Those of you that stay on the full duration of this workshop will receive the slides. And then you can go back. Every slide has all the links to all of the tools that I'm going to show you. It's also being recorded, so you won't miss a thing. So don't be overwhelmed. Just let it all flow through. Just let the love flow through. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk about my classic, what is AI? We're going to talk about how we make logos, using PowerPoints to make films, using podcasts from documents and films, using a blog to make a film. We'll take a break. And then after the break, we look at high quality image generation, how to create instructional videos, adjusting already created artificial intelligence images, creating voiceovers and music, and we're going to finish off with avatar videos. So that's what we've got covered today. So you can see that this session, more than any of the ones that I've done before, is heavily focused on video. Now, the reason why I've avoided video up until now is they've been pretty ropey. And they're still not 110%, but they're pretty good, and they're good enough for me to share today. Just put onto the screen here the AI companion. Try it. You're on an AI workshop. It's in the toolbar. Tap it so you can interact with it. It's your personal companion. We can't see what you talk about to it, but it can help you. It will answer questions, but it will only answer questions on what it's heard and seen, not on what I haven't said yet. So it will build up over the course of time. So give that a bash. I think you'll find it quite interesting. So let's get cracking. So just be careful touching the screen, people. I can see somebody's accidentally drawing on the screen. Let's talk about what is a artificial intelligence system. So it's comprised of 6 bits. The first bit is the raw data, the entire internet and every data set that's been scraped, all of the social media channels, every video platform, all of the large language models have basically taken all of that data and they use that as a learning exercise. They store it in the cloud, so in a big data center on hugely powerful servers, with the idea that then what they can do is process that information. And they use massive CPUs, GPUs to be able to do that, hundreds of thousands of them, the size of Westminster Abbey, this type of, the kind of stuff that we can't afford. All of this is not relevant to us. Where it starts to get more interesting is at this stage when they introduce algorithms where they create rules and fine tune all of that massive amount of data they've got in storage that they're processing. The AI tool is learning, it's trying to understand, it's tagging, it's sorting, it's sifting. There is human interaction at this point to tweak it and adjust it. Give it guardrails, give it guidelines, give it best practice. So there are tens of thousands of people work for these AI companies, human beings, helping to train these language models. They're part of it. The output of that is a trained system. It is an LLM, a large language model. Okay, that's what it does. It, in essence, is a black box. Nobody really knows what's inside it. It's virtually impossible to reverse engineer it. All you can do is continue to fine tune it, continue to train it. The output of all of that is things that we're now using, tools such as things on our mobile phone, such as ChatGPT, such as Midjourney, such as all these wonderful AI tools. There are literally tens of thousands of tools out there. So far in my research, I've looked at in detail 148 tools, okay, that covers the full gamut. And that's a drop in the ocean, an absolute drop in the ocean. But I've tried to find the best ones. What I want to do and what I've always done for the last 18 months when I've done these workshops is just show you the best stuff, really, if I can. And the majority of it, I try and make free. And if it's not free, then I let you know how much it's going to cost. All right. So this is it. We're going to talk about mainly applications, number 6. I'm going to start off with something that you may have seen online. We're going to create a logo in 7 steps with 3 tools. So let's go. So the brief was come up with a logo for this workshop, this Love AI Land. And I thought, well, all right, let's get inspired. Let's use an image that some of you may be familiar with. So I found an image for inspiration. I then went to a tool called OpenArt. And this allows you to upload an image and then it will give you a prompt description from that image. And I thought, okay, great, let's do that. Let's find out what AI thinks that image is. And it gave me a really useful prompt. I then decided that I wanted to take that prompt and use it in an image generation tool. So in this instance, I'm using Microsoft Designer. So this is the original prompt, a heart-shaped object on a sandy beach near the ocean, blue sky in the background, a small blah, blah, blah. That's in effect what this description is for that image. I wanted to rewrite it to make it more obvious. I didn't want a sandy beach. I actually wanted circuit boards, a grass bank, and I didn't want a small island. I wanted the dreaming spires of Oxford because this is the Love AI land in Oxfordshire. So that's how I tweaked the prompt. And when I put that into Microsoft Designer, that's what I got. Literally from that prompt, I generated three. Well, it automatically generates images. So it gave me 3 images. And I thought, yeah, that's all right. They're quite good then. The ones that I like, I mean, there's some nice things on there, but there's a lot of duplication you can see in these images, where you see the same thing. So it's like, well, Microsoft Designer is not brilliant at being able to re-edit an image. So I thought, okay, let's just follow this train of thought. Let's carry on with this image. So I then took it into Photoshop. And in Photoshop, you can select areas and use the generative tool with a prompt to change it. So I did. I introduced a processor in the middle of the heart. I wanted to put more classical buildings there. I wanted to get rid of the poppies and replace them with rose petals. So you can see this is the layers of the Photoshop file, and these are the generative layers that have been put in place. The end result of that is this. It gives me this. I've got the processor in the background. I've got the petals. I've now got that building in there. Happy days. You can see the layers there. What I then did was I put a shadow behind the text and then just wanted to jump out. And then finally, I exported it as a PNG or a JPEG or whatever it is. And that's really how I created the logo that you've probably seen somewhere. And you can see there's my homage, if you like, to the original source. And I'm literally keeping my fingers crossed that this does not get flagged as somebody saying, I think you've just breached copyright there. I think I've been clear and transparent in saying what I've been doing. Full disclaimer here, you can see how easy this stuff is to do. And I'm going to show you some deep fakes later. From an ethical point of view, just be careful with this stuff. All right. Please don't steal other people's work. This is a whimsical example of how you could do it, but just be really, really careful with your business. If you start taking other people's work, using it as your own, even if you introduce artificial intelligence into there, you've just got to be really careful with it. And that's lecture over. I promise, 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 no more lectures today on that. But these are powerful tools that we're looking at. So anyway, I've got my logo. What I want to do in 3 steps is create the logo as a GIF, like a spinning logo. So for this, I'm going to use 3D GIF Maker. Now, to find 3D GIF Maker, because I didn't know it existed, to be honest, I went to Perplexity and I just asked it a really simple question. Are there any AI tools that will create a rotating graphic as a GIF? And he went, yeah, there's a load. There you go. Bing, 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 bing. Gave me a big, long list. And the great thing about Perplexity is it always gives you the links. So you can actually go, normally it gives you 2 links. It will give you one link to the actual tool, but it might also give you another link where it's been referenced by somebody saying, oh, this is a great tool, blah, blah, blah. So quite useful for Perplexity in particular for validating whether or not the information it's given to you is actually correct and is useful. So anyway, that's why I chose 3D GIF Maker. It put it into a nice little table and it gave me, here's how easy it is to use, here's reasons to use it. So there's a lot of detail in it. It even gave me step-by-step instructions on how to use it. Perplexity is brilliant for that. It is so good. And it also puts loads of other related questions at the bottom of the answer to your question. So if you don't want to type and say, oh, that's what I want to ask, tap that and then the conversation continues. But I got the information that I wanted. So all I really had to then do was just go into this really simple little tool, upload my images, move the sliders, make the adjustments to it, and then I had a nice little rotating GIF. Just like that. Something really, really simple. It's not hard, didn't take long. It literally, in actual fact, researching the right tool took longer than the output of that tool. But hey, welcome to AI. That's the way it works. So that's a really nice, simple way that two things here. Teaching you how to use Perplexity. Later on, I'm going to show you the reasoning side of Perplexity, but that's one for later. But first of all, I'm teaching you how to use Perplexity as a search tool and how to benefit from the links it provides, to then going to actually use one of those simple tools. And what you'll see throughout the course of our session today is more of the same. It's literally, this is the playbook. This is how I'll do it. I'm going to show you how I do everything, and I'll show you the examples and the output from each of these tools. All right, so let's carry on. We've got more to do. So the next one was an immersive video clip using immersity.ai. And this is a brilliant tool. I love this tool. Dead easy to use. It's free for a certain number of images. All you got to do is just drop an image in there. Really simple. And then you've got a whole load of things. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to make it rotate, spin, zoom in, zoom out, twist? What do you want to do with this image? So you choose the effect. So what's the end result? It's this. Choose the export format. Do you want it as a GIF? Do you want it as a film? Do you want it as a depth map? You get the first 100 credits for free, which is an equivalent of faffing around with one image. After that, you can see the difference between these two. So you got this one, it's got no watermark. This second one that I did, I run out of credits. And it's like, sorry, chap, you can have it, but I'm going to put a watermark on it. If you want to do more of these, it basically works out to be $1 per image. So you buy credits. 500 credits is $5, 100 credits per image. So therefore, you do the maths. You can work that one out. And the only thing about this is that it does, you can see it's warping the text somewhat. I think this definitely will work better if I just chose the love heart and not the text. But I actually quite like this. And that PNG depth map, that's really powerful. For anybody who's involved in 3D graphics, they're going to love this. Other tools are available, by the way. So I want to carry on. I want to further explore this, and I'm going to stay with the Love AI Land theme for a while, and then I'm going to deviate off into another topic that if you've attended any of my other workshops, you'll have seen, which is all about Tap Me Up, which is my fake microbrewery in Oxfordshire, but more of that later. Let's just dig into some detail about how we can use PowerPoint to create an AI film. And it's dead easy. You do it in 5 steps, and we're only using one tool. This tool is called Pictory. Pictory, that one there. And remember, you can see I'm hovering over it. If you can see that, everything that's underlined, there's a link that will take you straight to the tool. So earlier, I showed you my walkthrough of how I created that image. Remember, I'd showed you this. So I actually took that PowerPoint straight into Pictory. I thought, well, there we go. Let's just see what it can do. So I uploaded the PowerPoint, and then I hit the Generate Video button. And what it actually did was this. It created a storyboard for me. And it is really, really good because I didn't give it the words. It interpreted what my PowerPoint presentation was trying to put across and gave it its own flavor. And you can do an awful lot with it. There is so much that you can do beyond just the words. You can see, you can put your own brand guide. If you use Canva, you'll be familiar with the branding section where you can apply your own brand guidelines, use your own audio, video, all that kind of good stuff. So there's a lot of customization you can do in it. And all of the text, this is what the person is going to say. You can actually edit this, change the text. And when you change the text, changes what the person says. You can choose a background music and a voiceover, change the styles of it, and then ultimately you get to the end of all that tweaking and adjusting, and then it says, right, okay, do you want to download it and watch it? Yeah, all right, let's download it and watch it.
Welcome to Love AI Land, our special Valentine's Day workshop on AI. Get ready to explore the fascinating world of artificial intelligence with us. In this session, we'll show you how to create a stunning logo in just 7 steps using 3 powerful AI tools. Let's dive in and unleash your creativity. First, we need to find an image for inspiration. Using OpenArt, we can generate a new prompt based on our chosen image. This will set the foundation for our logo design. Next, we'll convert our prompt into a raster image using Microsoft Designer. By refining the prompt and generating images, we can create a visual representation of our concept. Now, it's time to use Adobe Photoshop's generative tools to tweak the image. This step allows us to fine-tune the design and add any necessary adjustments. In this step, we'll add text layers and shadows to make the text pop. Once satisfied with the design, we'll export the final logo as a PNG file. Fingers crossed, it doesn't get flagged. Want to learn more about creating stunning designs with AI? Join us for our upcoming workshops and take your skills to the next level. Scan the QR code to book your spot now.
Do you know, I blooming love that. I know I shouldn't, because that's a little bit weird to love something that you've created, or is it? I don't know. This is Valentine's Day. Maybe I am allowed to say I love that. But how easy was that? It was literally, I just created that PowerPoint deck, and all of the words, I personally did not change the words that the narrator said. That was the AI tool understanding it, using its own language models and its deep learning to actually produce the dialogue for that. I just think it's absolutely blinding. I really do. And it's just so easy to do. Give it a go. You know, sometimes you can actually learn how to present by using Pictory to present your presentation for you, hear how it explains something, and then reflect on that. And then when it comes to you presenting that information, use it. So I did another one as well. I recently attended a big workshop with some graduates, and we had to do project management and innovation strategy. And I wanted to introduce them to a tool called Moscow. Must have, could have, should have, won't have. And I wanted to make it nice and simple. So I actually created another slide deck. So you can see this is it. It's all on one screen here. So you can see these are the individual slides that explains what is Moscow, what's it all about. Dropped it again into Pictory, and then just...
Welcome to our session on innovation skills, where we'll explore the Moscow priority, could have, and won't have, helping us prioritize effectively. Let's use the Moscow framework to decide on the features of a 99er ice cream. We have many options to consider, from the type of ice cream to the innovative toppings and payment methods. Every solution will have supporters and detractors, depending on how much they are impacted. We need to identify the interested parties.
There we go. I don't need to play all of it. You may not need to know the Moscow rules, but the point behind this, again, is you look at the form factor of this. This is a portrait, so this is a reel. You know, this can, and indeed is very good, this tool, at creating reels for you. If you don't have Canva, if you don't have time, you know, in the world to do that kind of thing, if you've already got your content, just put it into Pictory. Choose a format, landscape form or portrait, choose a resolution, tweak the words that it says. You can also edit any of the images in there. Do whatever you like to it. And then, hey presto, you get a nice, easy little tool to be able to use. Okay,
Welcome to our...
What I now want to do is talk about podcasting. Is anybody a podcaster on here? Does anybody ever create audio? Let me ask another question then. If you don't create audio, have you ever been given a PDF or something that's so long you just think, I haven't got enough time in the world to listen to that. I want to get a flavour of it. But to be honest, I haven't got enough time to read all of that. That's me, actually, to be fair. So I think I'm talking about myself, really. But if you're like me, then sometimes you just need a different way to be able to assimilate information, use it at your own pace, that kind of thing. So there's a really neat tool. It's called Notebook LM, and it's from Google. It's part of their experiential AI studio. It's brilliant. It's free. So use it. All of these tools are free. It's this particular tool, Notebook LM, it has limitations. So it's using Gemini 2.0. You can upload any of these asset types, but there are certain restrictions. You can only have so many projects before it says, you know what, Laws, I think you need to pay, basically. But anyway, I didn't need to for this exercise. In fact, I've done 4 different notebooks using this particular tool. So it's absolutely brilliant. So that's Notebook LM. And if we go into it, this is what it looks like. It's really simple. All you actually have to do is upload an asset. So you know that video that I created in Pictory, which was based on my slide deck that was creating the logo for this workshop. You see layer upon layer what I'm doing here. I actually uploaded that video that I created in Pictory into this language model. And then I asked it to analyze it and say, right, give me information. I actually, that particular presentation that I converted into a video, I wanted to upload to my YouTube channel. So I did, but I needed a description for it. And it's like, how do I create a description? Oh, I haven't got enough time. I can't be bothered. Usual classic laws. Hasn't got enough time, got loads of ideas, but actually doesn't have the time to do that. So I lean into AI tools. So by doing that, it took the source, the MP4, and it straight away gave me some information. It actually watched the video, understood it, and then explained back to me what it was. On this particular occasion, I knew it anyway, but imagine if this was something else. Imagine if this was something that had been sent to you that didn't have timestamps in there, didn't have a description, you didn't quite know what it was, how detailed it was going to be. Boom, here we go. That's what this tool's for. What you can actually do with it is create a whole load of things like study guides, briefing documents, frequently asked questions, create a timeline for it. And you can also talk to the AI tool down here about the content of the video. So I can't tell me how many different tools we use for creating that. Where can I find information about that tool? You just like you would with ChatGPT and other generative tools, you have a conversation with this tool about the asset you've uploaded. It's really, really good. So I'm going to show you some. Remember, this is that instructional video that we just watched together. Yeah. So let's have a look at what it can do. All right. So the first thing is it provides a briefing document. All of this is AI's words, not mine. It's very good. That is bang on. Knowing how I had to go through the exercise of creating the stages and then create the PowerPoint and then create the video, I kind of know what this is. And it's done a brilliant job of working it out. But not only that, it also provided summary information about the asset itself, more detail that sits behind the source material, and it produced FAQs. So this can be really useful. Think of a use case where you create an instructional video, a demonstration video that you're going to put onto your website, and you think, we need to create this because it's teaching people how to use our X, Y, and Z, or how to do X, Y, and Z that relates to our business. Let's put it into Notebook LM. Let's find out what FAQs it picks out, and let's use some FAQs on our website. They could be part of the web page that actually hosts that video, or maybe we can find some of the FAQs and just use them in our kind of FAQ section of our website proper. So there's some uses for it, dry stuff. But what it can also do is it's got a studio feature where you can actually generate a conversation. So this is basically two people talking about your tool. So remember, what we've actually got is we've got the original slide deck that I converted into a video. I uploaded this video to this tool. I then said, just create a podcast for me. And it did.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at AI and logo design.
Yeah, that's a hot topic.
Yeah, it really is. And we're going to be primarily looking at this workshop. It's Valentine's Day themed.
Love AI Land.
Yeah, Love AI Land, they call it. And they promise to help you create a logo in 7 steps using AI.
7 steps, that's it.
7 steps, that's all it takes. So
yeah.
we'll see about that. And we also have this video too, welcome to loveal.mp4, which kind of goes through it visually as well. And there's this interesting little thing where they talk about the final product potentially being flagged by AI.
Ooh, flagged.
Yeah, so we'll have to dive into that a little bit later and see what that's all about.
There you go. It gives you a 15-minute podcast. And you know what? The thing that I couldn't show you today, and I'm gutted because it wouldn't let me do it because I was trying to record my screen and use the tool at the same time and my brain popped. But what you can do when you're in this tool, when you're in this point where the podcast is there, you can go live into the podcast and talk to the AI tools. So they start talking in real time, like they just were there. You hit the join button. Then they say, hey, somebody's going to join us. Hey, who is that? And they say, oh, it's great here. I'm the person who put the workshop together. Oh, wow, you created the workshop. Have you got any questions for us? Yeah, I have. And you start a conversation with these AI avatars, these two characters. And then you can exit from that and it will carry on doing stuff. So in real time, you're having conversations with two AI avatars about your content. So I'm sorry, I couldn't show it to you. I couldn't work out how to do that, but it is practicable. It is possible to do it. So give that a go. Notebook LM is free. You can't get better than free. All right. So gang, we've got lots more that we need to carry on with. So we still are going to stay on the topic of generating content. All right. That is definitely the theme of today. And this one, we're now into our film proper. I wrote a blog and I'm going to show you how in 6 steps, using one tool, I can make a film out of it. So the first thing I had to do was I needed to create an image. I went to DALL-E to create an image. This is an image that I wanted to use for a blog article I wrote. So this is the article I wrote was called Make Mine in 99. And this is really all about utilizing techniques. And remember the Moscow rule that I talked about before of innovation, this unique tool. I wanted to write my blog article about why that tool's useful. All right. So I didn't use AI to create the words, but I'm going to show you how I'm using AI to create the video from my blog. So before I go on to show that, imagine a scenario where you've created some really interesting articles. You've written them yourself. They're on your website. And you think, just fancy sharing some of this stuff. You know, maybe I should like share, get some traction and get people to come and look at my blog or my article on this on my website. Maybe if I make a short film, how do I do that? I made a short film about it, then, you know, that'd be quite interesting. So let's just do that. I'm using Pictory again, our favorite tool for doing that. So we've got the blog link. All you actually have to do is when you create it, it says, do you want to create a film from a web link, a document, a PowerPoint slide, a video, an image, a text prompt? It gives you a number of options. So in this instance, it was based on the source material being the web link that went to my blog article that I created. And it had picked out, you can see, it's actually lifted all of the content from my article. It's got it all there. And then what it does, because it's not going to say all of it, it's going to summarize it. It then summarizes it into scenes, individual scenes, where it's lifting out what it believes to be the most important information from the article, segmenting it into scenes so that it is a bit more digestible. That then presents itself in here. You've got a little timeline. It's quite difficult to see. Let me zoom in a little bit on that. There's all the dialogue. So you look, that's the dialogue there. It's moved over into the edit mode. Each of these is a different scene. You can then change the images, change the wording, all that kind of good stuff in there. Once you're happy with the edit, then you just do what we always do, download. And when you download it, you get presented with a nice video. Like this.
Ever thought an ice cream cone could teach you business prioritization? Let's dive into the delicious world of the 99 ice cream cone. The 99 ice cream cone is our gateway to understanding the Moscow prioritization framework.
Now, I'm pausing there because what I'm showing you on here is the output. So remember, this is a process I went through. I used DALL-E 3 to create the image. I put that into my website, created my own copy, my own words in my blog article. Once I published that, I went to Pictory and I said, use the link to my blog article to create the storyboard. It created the storyboard. I used this image. I really wanted this image in there as the first one, but everything else in here is auto-generated. This is all AI content. I haven't adjusted any of these images, right? So that's why I'm telling you now, because this is the first pass.
Making a complex tool simple bar. Practical could-haves on to set clear sector, using technical resource factor in strategic decision.
So what you can then do is obviously go in and change the imagery that goes with it, change the words that goes with it, make it more relevant to you. That by leaving it in this raw format, what I'm trying to show you is that the Pictory has a really powerful engine in the back end that has loads of open source video for you to use. So you can use this, should you wish to do that, you can actually use this for output straight away without making any changes to it, and you're not breaching copyright. All right, you're not infringing anybody's IP. That said, refer back to my first point at the start of our session when I was telling you how language models are created, where OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Anthropic, or you name it, Grok, all of these big language models, they've all stolen their data. All right. They've scraped the entire internet, all of your family photos that were you published on Facebook, they're all out there. Anything that's on YouTube, it's all out there. Anything that's on any website is all been technically stolen. And all of these language models, of course, now the owners of these language models, they're being sued left, right, and center by publishing companies saying you've actually used my content without actually my permission. There's hundreds of lawsuits on that effect. From where you stand, from a legal point of view, you can use this content. From an ethical point of view, that's another matter. It's down to you. It's where you sit on that. And of course, I know that there are a number of creative people who are on this call, and you yourselves may have a view as to how you feel about the use of artificial intelligence to inform language models. Now, we've just had a few people join, so welcome to everybody that's joined. And have we had any questions before I move on? Just wondering, because we've covered a lot already. What's been said?
Lots of astonishment, impressive. Questions around the tools being free, but I think you have said that everything you've shown has at least got an entry level free.
Yep.
And questions then around the how do you know the flagging bit and the copyright, so the stuff you're talking about now, people are questioning and wanting to know more about that.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So there's a question that's been asked, can you protect your IP? Depends what IP it is. If you put it into the public domain, then there's a high probability that it will be found. Okay, so these language models, maybe going back to that thing where I was describing how it scrapes everything, it then jiggles it around, source it, creates a language model, fine tunes it, then it puts an application on top of that, and we use that application to ask it questions, right? Everything that's gone into that language model is basically from somewhere. So they're negotiating, these big providers of language models are talking to companies to get access to their proprietary information. So if you are the Getty of this world who has 1 billion images, they're now negotiating fees for access to their libraries. And lots of language models are now trying to do just that with The Guardian, with big publishing companies, just to get access to all of that information. From your point of view, I would be really careful. I would be really careful. Never, ever put anything into a language model that you wouldn't wish to have it use. Now, so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I'm going to show you a tool later where you can share your desktop. And I've just shown you a tool where you can upload documents to it, Notebook LM. When you upload content like that, there is no certainty that will not inform the language model. What it doesn't mean is it doesn't mean that somebody can just go and find your data that you put in there. So you upload your financial accounts and just say, give me some information, ChatGPT, help me understand all of this. It doesn't mean somebody else can go and find that PDF that you uploaded. That isn't the case. But actually the insight it gains and the understanding of what the numbers mean forms patterns that does inform the language model. If you don't want any of that to happen, you can do a couple of things. First of all, you can go into your settings on things like Perplexity and ChatGPT, and you can clear your entire history. You can also set privacy settings on Perplexity and OpenAI, so it does not feed your data back to the language model, so it doesn't inform the language model. All right, it's for future use. Just remember, that's only at the point at which you do it. Everything you've done before it has already passed. It's done and dusted. Now, there are some ways in which Microsoft have tried to address this with their security, the way that they work their mesh. And if you use Copilot, and I've got Copilot, so it's sort of for free now, Copilot, you can get it for a limited amount of time if you're using the Microsoft suite, but only for a limited period of time. And then it says, you've used up all your free tokens. I've got the full license for Copilot, and it's not cheap. It is £296 a year, right, for the full Copilot license. So it's not for babies, this one, but the benefit of it is it has a toggle switch in it. So when you're using any of the Microsoft tools, you can toggle on and off whether or not it's using your data or if it's searching the internet, like the World Wide Web, for data. If you toggle it to only use your data, Then it can access things like your SharePoint, it can access your OneDrive, it can look at your calendar, it can look at all of your emails, it can look at anything that you've stored in your Microsoft account, all right? And you can do a lot with that. It's very, very good. There's nothing in this presentation about that, but it's a brilliant tool, but you've got to pay 300 quid for it. That does not inform the language model. That is your proprietary information and it remains your information. So they've gone to extraordinary lengths to protect your interest on that. Other companies are trying to do the same thing. But to be honest, I like AI, but I don't always like the companies that are developing the latest language models. From an ethics point of view, I like Perplexity and I like Anthropic's Claude, because I actually like the values that those two organizations stand for. Their ethical standpoint on the rights and privacy of people is just first class. But here's something interesting. There's been a bit of a ding-dong recently with the EU, where the EU has introduced some what I believe to be fair guidelines for the ethical use of AI, so that it doesn't manipulate people, it doesn't take their data, it doesn't trick them into things. These are all like things that should be taken for granted. These are best practice, really. But the reality is that the majority of companies cannot abide by those rules, which is actually now very difficult for lots of the likes of OpenAI and the likes of Grok, by X, to be able to operate in the EU because they can't abide by those guidelines for it. So it smacks to me of large corporations trying to make a lot of money and they lack ethics, and I choose who I want to do. And look up Anthropic, great organization. Actually, just yesterday, though, I heard that Anthropic may well be bought out by Google. Really? I love Anthropic, and now they're going to get bought out by the beast. But we are where we are on that one, and it's your own personal perspective, and this is not the perspective of Oxlet, by the way. This is Grey Laws talking here. So earlier I was saying about just being really careful about proprietary art, if you like, who actually owns it. So here's some fun that I recently had using some AI tools. When I was coming up with the logo, and the logo that I ended up with, the Love Island logo variation, before that, I was thinking of like a Coca-Cola themed logo. I don't know why, but it was just like, yeah, love Coca-Cola, love AI, all of that sort of thing. So what I actually did was I put the Coca-Cola logo into ChatGPT and just asked it to describe the logo for me. And it did. It actually gave me a logo description, which then I reverse engineered and put in the words Love AI Land and asked it to recreate some images. And this is just 3 variations. And, the things that you're looking at on here in the prompt is the cursive script, squiggly script. Yeah. White, classic, subtle drop shadow. You can see all of that. There actually isn't a subtle drop shadow under the Coca-Cola logo. So it's added, it's embellished, that type of thing. But no matter. It's an interesting exercise in taking a logo, reverse engineering the image into a prompt, putting the prompt back in and changing the words to actually see what it does. And it's okay. It's all right. It's not brilliant, but it's all right. But then I went on further. I thought, all right, well, let's have a look in other computer programs. So same thing. I use exactly the same prompt that I've used. So this is Ideogram, and this is what it created. I use Adobe Firefly. This is what it created. Microsoft Designer, Dream Studio, Leonardo. So these are all variations, really, on the logo from that prompt. None of these are perfect. And the real issue with these, with the exception with Ideogram, I really like it, and you can go in and do some edits. I don't go into a massive amount of detail about Ideogram today. I've done it in previous sessions. If you've ever attended them, you'll be familiar. So I try not to go over, labor the point with the same tools again and again, but it's always been pretty good at words. Where others fail, it usually gets it right. Usually, I say that. You can see in this instance, it's got a 3 out of 4 hit rate. It's only made a mistake on one version, that one. The rest of them, it's actually got the words right. Firefly, fail. It's got Loveland. It's completely forgot about the AI bits. We look at Microsoft Designer. It's got the love and it's got AI. In fact, it's got several loves. Valentines Day, that's fine. We can have more than one bit of love. So it has spelt it right. If we look at Dream Studio, which is actually by Stability, and that's a pretty good image generation tool, hasn't done a brilliant job at all, in fact. Not at all. It's done a shocking job of that. And you can see in Leonardo, which I really like, Leonardo's a great little tool, it hasn't done a particularly good job of that as either. But this is first hit. This is literally just going in and going bash, doing it for the first time. Something that's interesting that's happened with Firefly, so Adobe. So think of Adobe Photoshop, think about Adobe Illustrator, all of those kind of things. This one, with Firefly, what you actually can go in, you can go in and edit some of the text, but not all of it. If it can produce a graphic and then you can add text to it and you can do certain things to it. After the break, I'm going to show you a whole load of ways in which you can, within Firefly and also within Photoshop, you can actually go into the image and then you can select areas and change certain areas. Remember, I showed it to you on the Love AI Land header image that I created. I'm going to show you that in more detail of how to do that. But as it stands right now, and I'm happy to be corrected on this, there is no single perfect tool for creating graphics where I could just go in to, let's say, for example, that image there and select the text and change the text and re-edit it. I don't know of a tool that will do that. I would love a tool that will do that. It doesn't do that. You can select it and ask it for changes, but it's hit and miss on all of these tools, whether or not it actually responds to what you're saying. Okay, so for our next section, I'm going to go back to one of these earlier images that we were looking at. So you can see, remember this? I took OpenAI's OpenArt, prompt. I then re-engineered it and created these images in Microsoft Designer. The bit that we're interested in here is this. It's this prompt here. And I'm going to be showing you some other tools that you can use. And I'm just staying with the theme here. Suspend disbelief that the prompt for any of these render engines, these tools, is something that's relevant to you. So the first one, let's have a look at Adobe Firefly. So Adobe Firefly is part of the Adobe suite. You can try it for free. It has limited use. If you're a subscriber, if you have the Adobe CS suite, or you have a pay-for subscription, then you get the full-blown version of it. So I use Firefly, and that's what it gave me. It gave me these, using that prompt, it gave me these 4 images. They're all right. I did various variations on it. There's lots of things you can do. You can use reference images to upload content. But really, I made a note here. He got confused between Oxford and London because I don't remember there being a Big Ben in Oxford. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've been there. Maybe it's happened since I was last around the Dreaming Spires. But this is not uncommon. This is how it goes. They do still hallucinate. They need correcting. It just happens. And I'm going to show you later on how you can go in using Adobe Firefly to make corrections. All right. So, but let's have a look at some other, using the same prompt, some other tools to get the same output that we're trying to get. So this is Leonardo. Leonardo is a paid for subscription, but you get a free set of credits and you can do a lot with those credits and they reset. So the same prompt. The preset for this, I use Flux, which is a great render engine for images. I wanted it to be dynamic. I wanted it to be square. I wanted medium resolution. And on the free package, you can't change the number of images. So it burns through your credits quickly until you get the paid for subscription. And then it allows you to do less. So it forces for, these are the images it generated for that. They're okay, but I made a note. It just looks a little bit like the Teletubbies, for anybody who remembers the Teletubbies. So yeah, they're all right, but I don't know. I'm not sure if that one's for me. It has a number of different foundation models that it uses, and so I used Flux because Flux is really good. I'm going to go now on to a tool that we've already talked about briefly, which is Ideogram. Now, they use deep learning, which is not always the case. Others use different methodologies for rendering their images, and the quality of theirs is really good. I really like these. I question the backgrounds sometimes, but again, I haven't been to, that potentially could be in Nepal, really, just as much as it could be in Oxford. I'm splitting hairs, but then you do, because if you're trying to get the perfect image, you want it to be right first time, every time. And if it isn't right, then you can obviously go on and iteratively change it. You can add different things to it. And it has loads of other features in here. I've done it before, so I won't be doing it today, but you can do canvas where you drop multiple images in and it builds out a space and becomes like a mood board and lets you explore generation upon generation. It's a fabulous tool, but that's only available if you've got the paid subscription. You can't access that on the free version of it. But I quite like the quality of these images. I think they're really good. And when you download them, they are good resolution images. Not all of the tools produce high res images. They look great when they're tiny, but actually when you get them and you open them up full screen, it's like, that's a bit sort of ropey. It's a little bit blurred or a bit map on that. So there's some of the limitations, but hey, it's free. And I guess probably it's a worthwhile point me making. If you're really serious about AI, and if you've tried some of these tools, and I always say try before you buy, if you really like the tools, help the companies out by subscribing. You don't need to take out an annual package. They always encourage that. When you look at the pricing, they always say, oh, it's, £9.99 a month. But when you look at it, it's only if you buy it for a full year. If you toggle the little switch on the pricing strategy to monthly, then it's not £9.99. If you're going to pay as you go, then it's £12 a month, something like that. But that can be a really good second level. So the first level is you try it for free and then you run out of credits. Second level, if you really, really like it, take out the monthly subscription, try it for 28 days, put a note in your calendar to say cancel before the 31st of X, and then decide at that point to cancel it or keep that subscription rolling until you've used up all of its use for whatever purpose you have. Because, the thing to remember with this is if you only need it now and again, £250 a year for a AI tool can be quite a steep price to pay when maybe you're only going to generate a few images every now and again. So free credits can work and monthly subscriptions can also help you with that. So I'm going to show you a new tool. It's called Recraft, and Recraft is a very good tool. So this is Recraft. Use the same prompt. You can see, you can go in here, give it the prompt. It's produced 2 decent images. They're all right. Quite like them. Still got Big Ben in there. Thank you very much. But you can go in and do fine tuning. And the fine tuning is where you actually can put in what we call negative prompts. So you tell it what I don't want to see in the image as well as what I do want to see in the image. And through that, those levels of refinement, then you can explore that in an awful lot more detail. And just to show you this is something, this was circa 14th. I'll put that date, but actually I saw this on a YouTube film probably a week ago. And it was MatVid Pro was the person who actually presented it. And this is an ELO rating, which is actually just looking at the effectiveness of different image generation tools. The stack chart, bigger is better, basically. Imagine 3, that comes out at number 1. Recraft, the version that I'm using, that came out in second place. Ideogram version 2, Imagen version 3, Flux, I've already mentioned DALL-E 3. If you're using Perplexity, or if you're using ChatGPT to generate images, they're probably using, they use DALL-E 3 amongst others. Imagen 2. So you can see this is a stack chart, bigger is better on that one. And that was actually, you can do that for free. There's a link to it. Just go use it. So I'm showing you 3 different things here on this screen. Draw your attention to these words here, hugging face. Some of you may be, if you're technically minded, you will know Hugging Face. For those of us that aren't necessarily quite as technically minded, Hugging Face is a platform that provides lots of free and paid for models and lots of experimental space where people have taken a model and they've created their own experimental app, in a way, is in the actual platform itself within Hugging Face. So I just went for 3 of them. So you can see they're all Crystal Wizard, Black Forest Labs using Flux, and Black Forest Labs using Flux. So I've got 2 variations of this. I like these. These are really high quality and they're free. They're using this one I really like. It's using a LoRa model. So that's really, really powerful. And they're really high-res images, and these are free. You're limited to how many you can do within Hugging Face before they want you to pay, naturally, and quite rightly too. And of course, bearing in mind, all of these models have been created by people like you or I, people who actually have taken a language model, worked out how they can turn it into something really interesting. They've put it as an experiment. They're trying to gauge interest. They're trying to see how many people are using each of these tools to identify two things. One, what do I need to change in my tool that's using that language model to make it better? And two, is it worth me trying to commercialize this? And the commercialization bit is always the big challenge with AI. For lots of companies, for you and I, we get it all for free for a limited period of time before we subscribe. But that free platform is it's not free. There is somebody who's paying for the generation of that image that you benefit from. Okay. So for the large language models, they'll give a free amount of processing power to certain research projects and individuals who are experimenters to further the aims of the organization. So they'll give free credit to them. But eventually, when that free credit runs out, you're burning their money when you're creating your images for free. So what they're trying to do is work out, is this worth me trying to commercialize it? And how can I make the numbers stack up? And if I created my own version of Leonardo, but I'm going to call it Grey-Leonardo instead of Leonardo, how much is that going to cost me per month just to keep this thing running? How much is it going to cost every time somebody uses it? Well, how much will I pay? So how much do I charge them? So there's a whole world of complex calculations that make or break language models and their use by developers, which is why you see and why I always have to almost create brand new content every time I do an AI workshop. Though no sooner have I said, oh, there's a brilliant new tool, and then suddenly that tool's not available anymore. And it's quite simply because the business case did not sustain it long enough for you to be able to use it. So key takeaway from this section is try it before it's gone because it's free. But from an ethical point of view, just remember that every time you generate anything using AI, whether it's an image, whether it's a text document, whether you're creating a whole website using AI, whatever it is, any of these tools, they're burning two scarce commodities: one, energy, and two, water. And there was this thing recently where it was announced that on average, the average volley of exchanges on a ChatGPT search. So like you ask ChatGPT a question, gives you the answer, you then ask it a follow-up question, all of that the average number of volleys, they then looked at that saying, how much energy does that consume and how much water does that consume? I can't remember what the energy use was, but the water was about 600 mil of fresh drinking water it used just to cool the processors down on the computer that rendered that image for you or that piece of text for you. So from an ethical point of view, think about that. That's actually a limiting factor for people around the world to have access to develop their own versions of ChatGPT. Because if you don't have the energy and you don't have the compute, then you ain't creating any language models. And if you don't have water, then you can't cool down your processors. So probably there are parts of the world that will never, ever benefit from this stuff. The end user will, but they'll be using models that come from Europe and North America and China because they have those resources available to them. It's a big frontier. And from our point of view, we've just got to respect the environment and understand the implications of just making lots of garbage requests to our AI tools. Make sure it counts, make it matter so that you're not consuming resources unnecessarily. Lecture over. Actually, I promised I wouldn't do another lecture and I've just done two. So sorry about that. So still within Hugging Face, here's another one. So this one is using Imogen pixel art and it's made by Tomasillo 2022. And all this does is took our usual images and all it really does is just create a nice little bitmap, which actually is pretty cool. And you can download that as a JPEG. You can download it in other formats as well. So a nice, neat little thing to do. Now I'm going to show you some more tools, and these are all hosted within a platform. So we've been looking at various experimental models made by people rather than businesses in Hugging Face, which you can access via our link here. But I'm going to show you another one now, and this is called Replicate, and they have an AI playground. All right, so replicate.com, the link's there. You can do a lot with this. but you do have to pay. It's a pay per play platform. So there's no subscription for this. But if you want to do anything, make music, make voices, transcribe content, generate anything, whatever it is you're doing, it's a pay per play. And the price depends on what you want to do. And there's lots of different language models. What I did was I just did a quick screenshot there of some of the incredible language models or image gen models that it's actually using to generate images. These are nerds out there will understand why I've selected ideogram, recraft, stable diffusion, or flux. They're the big dogs in town. They're the ones that were on that stack chart. And you can access them without having to subscribe to the full package. So the way you access it is you simply choose what you want to generate and then go in and choose the settings. So here's the examples. Remember the prompt. It's the same prompt we've been using all the way along. But look at this. Using the Black Forest Labs model and Flux, it cost me 6 cents. I had to pay 6 cents for this. Unbelievable. It actually appeared as a single item of payment on my bank statement, but there you go. It's as it is. I managed to change the settings, so it didn't. So it cost me 6 cents to make this image, and it took 9.26 seconds to render. So from the moment I'd pasted in my prompt and went generate, and then tap my fingers, 9.6 seconds later, 20 seconds, 9.7, 9.07, 10.3. That's how long it's not long. It's not long at all. If I'd tried to do the equivalent in Ideogram and indeed Leonardo and others for free, you can wait up to 300 seconds, sometimes even longer if their servers are busy. And of course, a lot of people in North America use those language models for free. So it's a cheeky bit of advice for you is if you're going to use some of these free tools like Ideogram, get in there when the Americans are asleep, because the servers aren't going to be as busy and you won't have to wait as long to actually get your little image generated by it. So yeah, so I quite like these. I mean, these are really, really high resolution. These is, you know, scaled down. Actually, when you look at the full size image, they're beautiful, beautiful images. And I love all three of them because they're using really good, and you can see Black Forest, Ideogram, Recraft, and Stability. The big dogs in town. So let's carry on, because there is something that's always puzzled me, and that is why we can generate what we call raster images. So like a normal image, a JPEG, that's a raster image, like a normal image. But sometimes if there's any designers on this call, or if you've ever been asked by a designer, can you send me the vector file for that? What that is, that's a lossless design that can scale to any size and it doesn't look blurred. And historically it was freehand, and then Adobe Illustrator, and there are other vector tools that you can use. But actually trying to find AI tools that will generate vectors are few and far between. But anyway, I managed to find one with a little help of Perplexity, I might add. And it was within Recraft, that platform that I was just talking to you about. So this is a vector generation tool. So all it is a really simple prompt, a heart-shaped object with circuit boards within it, and it generated this. I thought, yeah, that's all right. You can go in, you can do loads of adjustments to it. You know, there's tons of stuff. I literally wanted it the bare bones. What happens if I just put just a single sentence prompt in there? How good could it be? And it's all right. You can go in and change your color palettes. So similarly to other applications that I've shown you, where you might have brand values, and within that you might have color palettes, and those color palettes might have very specific hex numbers or RGB values, whatever it is, a set of color chips that say that's basically, whenever we create anything, let's make sure we stick with these colors. You can put those in here to create the image. I didn't bother. I just left it as that. But it was basically, what he was saying is there's the three source colors, but you can have variations on it. No more than 17 variations on it. So blends of those colors sit within this logo. It's how you get the color purple in there. It's a blend of magenta and cyan in that regard. So I generated the image, right? And then I thought to myself, this seems too good to be true, because I know how problematic it can be to generate vector images. It's the holy grail in design. So I thought, I'm going to open this up in Illustrator. I want to know the de facto platform software, for using vector images. Is it any good? So I opened it up in Illustrator, and it's all there. What you're looking at here are the layers. And when you know, for nerds like me, you open up an Illustrator file. That's where you go first. You go straight to the layers because you want to know how is it made up? Is it just one retraced image, or is it a composition of different shapes all layered on top of each other that I can go in and adjust? The answer to that question is it's legit. It really does work. So while I was in Illustrator, I thought, well, all right, so I'm already in Illustrator now. Come on, Illustrator, what can you do? Because you've got your own image generation facilities for creating vector as well. It's in beta form, but let's go head to head, Recraft versus Illustrator, just to see what can you do. So I went in, used the same prompt, a heart-shaped object with the circuit boards within it. You can choose the type of content that it is. You can choose effects. You've got lots of sliders, lots of variations. Choose the effect that you want. You generate the image, all that usual stuff. And then there it is. It generated that, which is all right. It's a vector. And what it actually presents back to me is 3 variations. I can then go in and do what I like to it, do more adjustments, change the cover set, change this, change that. Oh, everything was brilliant. I thought, well, that's okay. It's not quite as imaginative as Recraft, but actually it does exactly what it says on the tin. Thanks, Illustrator. That's not too shabby. It's a beta. It will get better. That's a guarantee. It's just a matter of time. The big issue Adobe have got is their customers are the ones who are going to be most affected by generative AI, and they won't be affected positively because things like this technically take away the work of a graphic designer. And things like I use Adobe Lightroom for my photography. And with Adobe Lightroom, you can go in and use generative AI to change things. You can add things, you can remove things. I use Adobe Premiere for video editing. You can extend the length of clips. You can introduce new content. You can do all of these things. What this is actually doing is it's changing the role of creatives, whether they're a graphic designer, a photographer, a videographer, whatever role they have in the creative space. It's compelling them to start using generative AI tools, but it's also democratizing the creation of vector files, which I mentioned earlier is the holy grail of design, so that you or I could actually do it, which technically takes away from the sources of income for a graphic designer. There is no easy way for Adobe to solve that problem, so they're treading very, very carefully, because ultimately people could just walk away saying, do you know what, Adobe, I don't think you've done us proud at all. You have simply made all of these tools available to everybody, made it easy. You know, my 15 years of learning on how Adobe Illustrator works and all the idiosyncrasies of the settings, you've literally wiped the floor with all of that, and you've just now made it a single sentence can solve that problem. I'm not happy. I'm unsubscribing. I'm going to get rid of the package. So they're on a walk the tightrope here, because they're not alone, in as much as there are others, such as the one I've just shown you, other people who are developing challenger applications that will also do that work. So their iceberg is melting. And I'm watching Adobe. I'm watching their stock price. I'm also watching their press releases about how sensitive they are being to the creative community, which is their bread and butter. The final bit, anyway, I did on Adobe Illustrator was I accidentally played around with it. So I had my original image. So I had this, and you can see it's actually underneath this box. See, that's the image that it generated. What I did was I thought, I'm just going to bring in, for the purposes of today, I'm just going to bring back in that original image, just so that I can say, and this is what the original image was that I used to create the prompt that's generated this vector file. And then I found something quite interesting where you could actually connect with the original vector file but reference another image to create another vector file. And that's what it did. It basically took this original design. It then referenced this, said, okay, I get the colors. I sort of get the look and feel. I see what you're trying to do. How do I bring these two together? Oh, is that what you wanted? And that's a vector file as well. And I stopped at that point, only because I ran out of time and talent. But it did leave me thinking that this potentially is a new level of interactivity for graphic designers. And I feel that this could be a really useful tool for them. And it's something that I know is available elsewhere, but not to the same depth of technicality as it is within Illustrator. So I'm kind of holding my nose on this and saying, carry on doing what you're doing, Adobe, carry on with all of this stuff. but please don't damage your creative community in the process of doing it. All right. So let's crack on, because I want to talk about video now. I think we've done enough about images. Let's look at how we can create video with prompts. So I'm back in Replicate, and I've got my prompts. This video shows a heart-shaped object with circuit boards within it on a grass bank. Remember this prompt? This is it. Annabelle Kidstone, holography, promotional video, hologram. So this is using Luma. It's free. 16 by, oh, sorry, it wasn't free. No, forgive me. It wasn't. It was 45 cents to actually create this one. I quite like that. That's not too shabby at all. Now, here's something to think about. Again, back to that point about videographers and photographers and graphic designers are all being displaced by technology. And every time we create something, we may have taken work away from them if we'd asked them to do it, or if we'd subscribed to a pay-for platform that has loads of these assets on that they create and they get paid for. This is interrupting that completely. But, you know, really what you ought to be thinking about, if you're really serious about this and you do want to get some really good creative content, AI can be a great space for exploring the art of the possible and coming up with, I kind of want this, and I want it to do this, and I want it to do that. That's a great storyboard that you can give to a videographer, photographer, or a graphic designer to say, here's a whole load of renders that I've created, a whole load of stuff I've done on ChatGPT or in Perplexity or any of these other tools. Can you do a proper version of that for me? Can you bring your camera? These are the shots I want. This is the angle. You can see I've tried to do that, but obviously don't want that person. I want me in it. So you get what I'm looking at. Can you do it for me? And then you're bringing the creative people back into that process. So things like this, early days on image creation is limited to 6 seconds. So here's another one, still on Replicate, and this is 10 cent. Rubbish. I paid 69 cents for this 10 cent. I think it's rubbish. It's really low resolution. I'm not a fan of 10 cent anyway as an organization, but you are where you are. That's what you got. For 69 cents, that's what you get. I didn't like that one, but I'd spent the money. I'm going to show you something called real-time canvas. So what you're looking at on screen here is a neat little interface. And what it actually does is you have an input window, which is the one on the left that you can draw into. And then on the right-hand side, it starts to create an image based on what you're drawing. And it's based on, you have to give it an initial prompt. This is within Leonardo. Give it an initial prompt so it understands the look and feel that you're trying to get from it. Interesting little thing. I really like this tool because I'm an illustrator and an artist anyway, just as a hobbyist. So I quite like the fact that you can go in and in real time interact with artificial intelligence to create some kind of new level of interactivity, and the output feels real. It feels, you know, kind of like you're affecting it. So nice little tool. You can try it for free, but only until you've run out of credits with Ideogram, but well worth giving that one a go. Okay, gang. So we've got more that we need to do. I want to show you Poe. So when I'm showing you some of these other platforms that host lots of different tools, Poe is one of the originals. It's been around an awful long time, and it has some really, really good tools. You can try it for free, but it limits which tools you can use to what extent. If you pay, and it's not a massive amount, you can see for £19 per month. Remember, this is the bill monthly versus bill yearly that I was telling you about. They always present it to you with a billed yearly. Look. So then the price per month goes down. You think, oh, that's not too bad. So, hold on a minute, I've got to pay for the whole year. Click on billed monthly. It's like, okay, so it's £19.99. So you get 1 million tokens. You can do a lot. Sorry, 1 million points. You can do a lot with 1 million points. And these are literally just some of the tools in here. Anybody who's interested, you recognize all of these. This, if I could toggle it, it's not a live link, but if it was, this just goes on and on and on and on and on. Same for image gen, same for audio and video. All of the tools are here, and they're really good. So I'm just going to show you a few little playing around within the free version of Poe.com. So this is Dr. Logo, and these are the, you know, kind of nice little images that it's generated from that. And you can see it cost me 185 points to do that, but you got a whole lot of points for free on that. And it's giving you all of the information. And what I really love about this is when it generates an image, it said, oh, okay, so we basically generated this with Playground. Do you like it? No, I don't know. So I might like to take it into Runway and animate it. I might like to just try it again, but using a different image generation model. So it gives you all these really quick buttons to say exactly the same thing, compare and contrast. And you can see this is it. This is basically the pairing of it. It's all right. The text isn't, brilliant, but it does exactly what it says on the tin. It gives you it and it's free. So here's some other free versions of that. These are using Stable Diffusion, Imagen 3, and Stable Diffusion 3X. So again, these are state-of-the-art language models for generating images. But do you know what? I rate the way that they've dealt with the text on any of these things. And that, as we know, is always problematic, getting them to deal with text. So let's look at a few others. So we've got Playground version 3, we've got Luma Photon, and we've got Flux Schnell on there. Again, they haven't dealt with the text, but actually the quality of the images is astounding. I would be inclined, and I was, and I didn't do it, but I'd be inclined to go back into this and do what I did originally with Microsoft Designer. I would take out the words Love AI Land, but leave the rest of the prompt in there so I can get these images. Then I'll take it into something and add my text on afterwards. That's how I would deal with that one. Otherwise, you can just lose enough time on it. So, mentioned Leonardo before. They have loads of different models that you can work with and lots of different, adjustments, choosing realism, putting in the negative prompts, saying things that you don't want. So let's have a look at this. I wanted to create for my microbrewery, tap me up, a Valentine's Day night set of images. So it's generated some images for me. They're okay. I did some tweaks on it. I actually took the people out of it. These are good. These are high quality images that's produced within Leonardo. I really like that. When you subscribe to it, you get 150 tokens for free every day. And that's quite a lot of tokens. You can normally do about 20 images a day with that. And then just come back the following morning and just, rinse and repeat on that one. But again, like all of these things, if you can afford it, pay for it. So I'm using Microsoft Bing now, and Microsoft Bing in their image creator uses DALL-E 3 as their primary render engine. And these are the images it created for that. And these are all right, but you can't do any fine tuning to the image afterwards, not within the free version of Microsoft Bing. There's no adjustments in there. And the images are all right, but they look like cartoons. Maybe I didn't want that effect. And maybe I wasn't explicitly clear in stating that. If I look at my prompt in here, there is nothing that says in here photorealistic. So it has to make certain assumptions about what I want, and maybe it hasn't delivered, and that's on me. Now, this is Microsoft Bing, but actually you've also got Microsoft Designer as well. And it's used, it's using DALL-E 3, but it's also using GPT, or it was at that point using 3.5 to aid in the image generation process. Same prompt. That's what it gave me. I then went into Visual Creator and made some more adjustments in their Office.com section of the same tool. Microsoft, why you do this? Why have you got 10 different versions that are all in different links for this sort of thing to get some variations of these images? But again, we're back to the same thing. These are nothing wrong with these images, but they're just a little bit soft focus. They look a little bit like they're from a computer game. They're not real people. They're not what I'm trying to do, because I'm actually trying to create a promo video for my microbrewery, and I'm failing at this point. I'm not going to use them images. So let's go into Adobe Firefly. I've generated some images. So once you've put your prompt in, you generate the images. And what you can actually do is there's a load of stuff you can do. I'm going to just show you 3. How you can get rid of bits that you don't want in an image, how you can make the image, the area of the image bigger, and how you then can add to that image. So starting off with just literally these particular images, I'm going to select one, and then the first thing I'm going to do is subtraction. I'm going to get rid of something that I don't like. So here's an image. 3 people sitting around a high top table, having a drink of beer. I'm going to go in and use a subtraction tool. And the way it works is quite neat. It gives you a little paintbrush. And if you can see here, you can paint over an area. What I'm actually trying to do is get rid of the bottles in the window. I don't like the bottles. They look fake. They add nothing to the image. They're a distraction. They actually draw the eye to the bottles and not to where I really want the attention, which is on the interaction between these two people. Yeah, this person and this person. I wanted connection because this is all about Valentine's Day. I didn't feel that the bottles were adding anything. So I painted over the bottles and hey, presto, bottles gone. Boom. Nice and simple. And it's really quick to do that. And you can actually try some of these things for a limited time for free. So the next thing I want to do, using the same tool, is I'm going to make the area, the image bigger, because I've made it a square image. Classic mistake that I make, making it a square image, but I actually want it portrait. So you can expand the image, and it's really good. The expand tool there, it puts a little box around your image, and then you just drag the handles and expand it. That checkered area is me telling the generative tool how much more image I want it to generate for me. And, you know, I've dragged it up and I've dragged it down to do that. And you can see, in actual fact, I went into that freeform mode for it. No, sorry, I didn't. I went into portrait mode 3x4, but you can go into freeform mode where you can drag it out sideways and do what you wish. And it does a really good job of adding extra detail in there. And there we go. It's actually added more to the top, more to the bottom. It's sorted out the bottom of the stool. It's done something quite interesting with that. It's interpreted what happened there, some technicality as to how that particular thing works there. But look at it. Look at how it's actually rendered the image, the remaining part of the brickwork and the window up there. It's introduced an archway and it wasn't there before. So we approve. Well done, Adobe. We approve of that. So now I'm going to use that image that I've expanded, but I want to add something in. So down here, I'm going to insert. So I painted the area. That's the area that I want to insert something into. And I'm going to put a Irish Terrier dog asleep. And there it is. It's actually done it. And it gave me variations so I could choose which Irish Terrier I wanted. I tried to find the one that was closest to my Irish Terrier, Mischief, that looks most like her. And it nailed it. That actually is an Irish Terrier. It looks just like my dog, Mischief, asleep.
Great. I know you've done Irish Terriers before.
Yes.
In AI sessions.
Yes.
Has the AI learned what you like about the Irish Terriers so that when you ask for an Irish Terrier, it gives you the one you liked at the end?
It could do, because it does learn, but when I did that last time, I wasn't using Firefly. So for this example, no, but it potentially can learn. It doesn't return unless you've got a paid for version of any of the image generation tools. After a period of time, all of the things that you've created are lost. So it doesn't necessarily keep a memory of these things. However, if you've got a paid for subscription, it does keep a memory, and it can resample things and learn. It also, something that's well worth doing on any generation tool of any kind, whether it's a video, an image, or words. You might see when it's giving you the thing back at the end, a thumb up or a thumb down, and you might ignore that. I always give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down because you're helping the tool understand what you like and more generally what people like about that tool. So it helps make it better. So in a way, just by giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, you're helping to fine tune that particular model that's giving you the output that you want. But yeah, on this particular occasion, it literally just found its own from its own stock footage, great examples of Irish Terriers, and then reinterpreted that and put it between. And you know, it's so clever. It's actually put the head of the Irish Terrier behind the leg of the stool. So it's actually got depth. It's very clever. It's so good how it's done that. That would take ages for you to try and do that yourself. All right, I'm going to add another image to it. So we've got the Irish Terrier down here, but I don't know what's going on over here. Well, let's give him, I would basically want to add something to the table. So I've just put a few bar snacks on the table as well. Just a little thing, just a little sizzle, a little bit extra, something different. And then I've done all of that, but now I'm not happy with the background. I don't like the background. So you can actually go in and you can select the background and get rid of it. just keeping basically the way you do it is you select the image itself and you can add to it, saying, so I want to make sure it actually missed a little bit of the table. I didn't spot that when I was rendering it on one leg, but to be honest, it didn't make that much difference because it starts to produce variations on it. You can see what it's actually done there is very clever because that leg was missing. It's actually put a little bit of soft focus on it and made it look like bokeh. So it's like a lens reflection that's on there. So it's very cleverly masked the fact that I didn't do a particularly good job of subject selection. But what it does is it gives you this carousel, so you can literally just click, 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 and say, I don't want that background, don't want that background. Yeah, that background's all right. Don't like that background. Yeah, that's the one. Keep it, and you can keep doing it. You just layer upon layer upon layer of doing it. So it's very experimental, very good. Okay, let's move over completely. I want to talk about music because we remember what I'm trying to do is I'm bringing all this together. I'm trying to bring images, sound, all of this together into a little promo video. So there's some great tools that are available for creating music. Stable Audio, Suno, Boomy, Stock Tunes. There's 11 Labs. That's not free, but you can go to po.com and access 11 Labs. So let's just have a little look at some of these things. So this is Stable Audio. Nice, simple little bit. That's my prompt. Orchestral, summer sound, smooth, ethereal, upbeat, happy. You can put a lot more detail in there. And then you can download. Oh, sorry. Enough Stable Audio. Thank you for that. If I were to go into po.com and use 11 Labs, then I can do other things with this. And with this, what I was trying to illustrate is not creating music, but there's the prompt. See these words, a heart-shaped object? This is the prompt I use to create the images. And I wanted to show you how it just deals with words to generate it. And it creates a dozen different voices.
A heart-shaped object with circuit boards within it.
Let me just do that. Let me just go back to that.
A heart-shaped object with circuit boards within it.
All of these are just brilliant.
A heart-shaped object with...
But obviously...
A heart-shaped object with...
There are limitations to the free version. If you go to 11 Labs and get the paid-for version, you can choose the age of people, the gender of people, the nationality of people. There's a million ways in which you can adapt all of this content so that it effectively gives you the voices that you want. But on po.com, you're limited for what you can do for free. So let me just show you Suno. I'm going to go back to the music.
Golden rays in the sky we chase, soft winds kiss our smiling face, dancing clouds in the blue
nice. I like that.
perfect world in a sunlit place.
It's not going to work for this, what I'm trying to do, though. I'm sorry, but I can't use that one. So let's have a look at Boomy. What can Boomy offer us? Great. Okay, so we've got a number of different styles. So electronic dash wrap. Okay, yeah, got that. All right. All customization. Interesting. Relaxation, meditation. All right, let's give it a go. I'm going for meditation. Brilliant. I want natural. Let's just, from the first hit, see what Boomy gives us. Come on, Boomy. Don't let us down. Ah, you've let us down. This is a classic case of you get tricked into thinking it's free and you go partway through the process and then find out actually you can't do anything until you start subscribing to it. So I'm sorry, I've misled. I was misled. I've misled all of you on this one. Boomy, what are you doing to us? Please don't do that. So just be cautious about how much time you invest in something before you try to do an output from it. Otherwise, you may end up in a place that you don't really kind of want to be, which is time wasted and no output from it. So this is a neat little one. This uses AI music. This is in the public domain. It's called Stock Tune. It's great. I like this. Imagine a track where classic do fast sound with lyrical outlet. Well, not free. I heard you that in my very fantasy struggle. I will be studying my video. And you got your hand up.
We can't hear you when the music's on.
Got it. Okay, you're missing nothing. I'm talking rubbish. So
just in case.
All I was saying when the music was on is it's okay, but it's not brilliant. It's great, you know, it gives a nice description, and I could have used that in a video, but it's not the one I'm going to use in a video, all right? Because I'm going to use a different different one for that. So I'm now moving us into our final stage of the promo video. So let's have a look at the promo video. I went to Perplexity and gave it a description. I just said, basically, I run a microbrewery called Tap Me Up. I'm doing a Valentines. I want to make a film. You can see the prompt I put in there. It's a couple's evening, 2 drinks for the price of 1, bar snacks are free, all that kind of good stuff. Can you help me with some voiceover dialogue that I can use on a video? The text you give me will be put into 11 Labs to create a voiceover. And he went, yeah, sure, I can do that. So it did. This is the answer he gave me. He gave me the script. I thought, that's a brilliant script. I really like that. That was probably couldn't have created that myself. I might go in and change a few of the words, but as a first pass, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to keep that script. And this script is now going to be used for the promo video. Now, the audio track that I'm going to use for this, the background, is the one that I actually created using Stable Audio. And this is the one I'm using. Just real basic background. But remember, when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking I need a background track that's not too jazzy and not too complicated, because I'm going to have somebody talking over the top of that as well. So that previous one that I actually quite liked wouldn't have worked, because the voice would have been competing with the jazz and it just wouldn't have worked, but it could have worked in a different, kind of for a different use case. So now let's look at how we can create the voice. So there's a number of different tools. This is Halo AI, which is a brilliant little tool. So this is my copy that I took from Perplexity. Now with Halo, what you've actually got to do is I've highlighted this. You've got to add a little bit of something in there, a bit of writing, a bit of code in there to make sure it pauses between sentences. Otherwise, it's just like a stream of consciousness. But I chose 2 different variations on this free version, the wise lady and the comedian. So these are the characters. So this is a wise lady.
Welcome to Tap Me Up, where love is in the air this Valentine's Day.
And this is a comedian.
Welcome to Tap Me Up, where love is in the air this Valentine's Day.
I say. That sounds very, very much like a comedian. We can also then go native into 11 Labs, and this is the price structure. For free, you get some stuff. They want you to do the creator at £11 a month, which, to be honest, is not very expensive at all. If you need to generate a lot of sounds, it's dead simple. You choose what you actually want to do. You can upload your audio. You can do a lot with it, or you can simply give it a text prompt, which is what I did. And you can see it's actually got voice cloning. It's very, very good. You can use all the sliders and adjustments, choose the language model you want it to use for accuracy. And then the end result is actually you get something pretty good.
Welcome to Tap Me Up, where love is in the air this Valentine's Day. Step into our cozy tap room, where the ambience is as inviting as the company you keep. Here.
Brilliant. So I've got that. I've got the 2 things. I've got the soundtrack and I've got the voiceover. Now I just need to get all these video assets. So let's just bash on Halo, create a free account. Let's make some videos. I used an image that I created in Bing, and then it allowed me to create a 6-second video, and it's just a little bit of a pan around. That's all it is. It's a bit cartoonish, but it's not too bad. So that's a couple who are just like socializing. It would be better if it was photorealistic. The fact that it's an animation look isn't exactly what I was looking for, but let's bash on because I can do a different one. Let's use this image. Yeah. And when I upload it, I ran it on using 2 different language models, Runway and Halo, and you get 2 different styles. They're all right. There's nothing wrong with those. I could work with them. So this is me working my way through creating lots of different video assets for my final design. Yep. I can go into Runway, do the same thing, get the same output, but I was really disappointed that I specifically said that, it should be a woman pouring a glass of craft ale, and she's not pouring a glass of craft ale. In fact, there's a man there holding a vessel of craft ale. I don't know what happened there. I like this content, but it hasn't followed the prompt that I asked it to do. So let's go into Runway. We've got an image that I'm using as a source file. And what I'm trying to do is get a couple to clink a glass. Will they do it? Come on, don't let me down. Are you going to do it? No, you're not going to do it. So this is, me saying, look, what's happening there with all them glasses? it's hallucinating. It's not doing it. So image generation is still not there. Not unless you put a lot of effort into it. And I didn't put a lot of effort into this, but why should I? But I did do a couple of other variations that you can see here. So these are just like people doing stuff. Don't know what's going on with the hand there. Couldn't use that one because it's just classic case of it all went wrong with the hands. Like that one though. Love this one. Soft focus. Suddenly going into focus. Classic videography. Brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant that it was able to do that. That I'm definitely going to use. We use stable diffusion, stable video model, sorry. And this is okay. I used an image. I generated the image first of all, then turned it into a video. It's all right, but it starts to get a bit blurred towards the end. I might use that. I might not. Halo again, using a prompt, a wide shot of the tap room. Have you succeeded? Yep. You've given me what I wanted. I'm happy with that. Thank you very much. In fact, you've given me 2 that I can potentially use there. And then using stable, I'm using a seed here. So I'm trying to get images that when you use seeds, what you're actually saying is every time you generate an image, try and keep them looking the same. So the seed number is the important thing. You copy it, you know, has it actually done that? No, it hasn't done that, but it has given me 2 reasonable-ish images. It's okay. There's not they're sort of panning around a still image. I'm not impressed by that one. That was a bit better. There's movement in the background, a little bit of hallucination there. Potentially I could use those. So you can see this is all trial and error. This is all of these images. You can see I've generated a lot of different images, panning up, panning across, another one panning across, just to try and to get interaction. I was going to use this one, but there was a whole load of lonely people sitting on the road, and I was thinking, no, this is Valentine's Day. This is not a whole load of people sitting on the road. I actually want people talking to each other. So I can't use those images, but the effort yields its own reward on this. I'm going to plow on. I wanted to have an image of beer being poured into a glass. Yep, it sort of does it. I could probably get away with that. The water is almost flowing. It's okay. But remember what I was saying to you, that what you're really trying to do is create if you like, a series of pieces of video content that you could actually pay a proper videographer to come in and do quite easily for you. It wouldn't have taken me long with my fake microbrewery to have got all of this sorted out. Penultimate image, just a couple enjoying themselves. Didn't like that one at all, but I went in and put the prompt in again, chose a different render engine, and I like that. That's good. I'll definitely use that one. And then this final one from Kling. It's the only time I mention Kling, and I'm sorry for anybody who's an expert. Kling is arguably one of the best render engines for images. This is the free version. The paid for is so much better, but I actually really like these. The way he's done this is pretty good. That one in particular, this bottom one, that's a super bit of footage. So I need to bring it all together, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to bring it together using our good old favorite Pictory. You can do it for free. All right. You don't need to pay through the nose, and you can do an awful lot with it, as I've shown you previous examples of. I basically brought in my script. Remember that I created Perplexity. You created the scenes, and then I went through and dropped in all my favorites from those video assets, dropped them all in there to actually create this.
Welcome to Tap Me Up, where love is in the air this Valentine's Day. Here, amidst the gentle hum of conversation and the clink of glasses, you and your loved one can enjoy an evening of connection. We're offering a special couples evening, 2 drinks for the price of 1. And all evening long, indulge in our complimentary bar snacks. Whether you're sharing a pint of our finest craft beer or savouring a glass of wine, let Tap Me Up be the backdrop to your romantic evening. Celebrate love, laughter, and the joy of good company at Tap Me Up. Because this Valentine's Day, we're not just pouring drinks, we're pouring moments to remember.
And that was it. That was basically the culmination of a considerable amount of effort to generate lots of video images or video files, and then use Pictory to create it. And actually, you can go into the settings of all of this and adjust it. I don't like that bit of footage. Find some stock footage. Change this. Change the duration of it. Change the words. And when you change the words, it changes the text for it. All right, I'm just going to finish off with a couple of very quick ones. This is synesthesia, which I love. and I use this to create an instructional video. So what this actually does is you upload documents or copy, and it makes videos for you. It's super, and it puts an avatar in there. I've spotted this, that you can actually create a video by uploading a PDF, and I thought, oh, all right, I'll do that. So I went to Perplexity and I said, create an instructional document about the use of generative AI in a marketing company, just as a hypothetical situation. And Perplexity did its thing. It actually produced a brilliant set of guidelines for using generative AI in marketing. And I thought, great, I've now got guidelines. I'm going to put that into Perplexity. I'm now going to put that into Synesthesia to actually see what it can do with it. And it did a great job. There it is. I've uploaded the guidelines to it. Let's move it in. I can choose an avatar if I want to, but you have to pay for that. I didn't. I went with one of its standard avatars. It's this one. And a bit similar to Pictory, it puts a copy in there and you can edit the copy. You can change the speed, you can change the style and the layout. And it gave me this.
This Valentine's Day, why not learn to love AI? Sign up to this Oxlep workshop on Eventbrite. Join Ant Parsons and Gray Laws for a generative AI business special. In the 2-hour session, you will see how this film was made and so much more. Imagine a world where marketing content is crafted in minutes, not days. Generative AI is revolutionizing how we create, offering speed and efficiency like never before. But how does it truly transform our marketing strategies? Generative AI enhances marketing efficiency by automating repetitive tasks, allowing teams to focus on creativity. Yet it's crucial to remember that AI should complement, not replace, human ingenuity. Let's explore how this synergy works. To maintain brand integrity, AI-generated visuals must adhere to strict guidelines. Colors, typography, and imagery should reflect our brand's identity consistently across all platforms. This ensures a unified brand presence. Consistency in brand voice is key at Beyond. AI must align with our established tone and messaging, ensuring every interaction resonates with our audience. Approved templates and assets are vital tools in achieving this harmony. Here at Beyond, AI-generated content undergoes a multi-step review process. Initial quality checks, brand alignment, and legal reviews ensure compliance and accuracy. Each step is crucial in maintaining our brand's reputation. Reviewers play a pivotal role in this process. They verify content accuracy, check for biases, and ensure regulatory compliance. Their expertise guarantees that our AI content meets the highest standards. AI content can pose risks like biases and copyright issues. Implementing small, controlled pilots with human oversight helps mitigate these risks. Regular audits ensure continuous improvement and content quality. By embracing AI responsibly at Beyond, we enhance our marketing efforts while safeguarding our brand. Let's commit to using AI as a tool for innovation, ensuring every piece of content reflects our values and vision. Sign up to this Oxlep workshop on Eventbrite and learn to love AI.
All of that content from that is AI generated from a work instruction that I gave to it. It highlighted what it believed to be the most important points, put it as bullet points in the visual, and gave that person the script. And you can literally go in and change any aspect of it. All right. So, a little bit of fun. Gosh, who is that, Herbert? This is me.
So this is Runway Act 1, which lets you upload videos. So this is Runway Act 1, which lets you upload videos. So this is me talking on a webcam. So this is Runway Act 1, which lets you upload videos. So this is me talking on a webcam. And once you've uploaded the video, you apply an avatar or a character to it.
There, right. Use this carefully. And from an ethical point of view, we're into deep fake territory here. This is a free version, so you have to do a recording and upload it. This chap who needed a shave, but he was irrelevant because actually all we were trying to do was get the mannerisms, get the voice, the tone of it, and then superimpose it onto one of these characters. In the paid for version, you can choose your own images to do. So I, again, think you should be really careful. The ethics of this, That's all I'm going to say on that one, but it's a very, very powerful tool. And of course, we couldn't be complete without showing a little bit of sizzle. This is called Cartoonify, and this allows you to choose different types of avatars, choose an image, and then you can do different things with it. I almost send you this one and thought, no, that would be a bit odd to do that. So I went for this one instead, thinking, well, that's more usable, and I know you did use that on LinkedIn. So well done for that one. That was definitely a better use for that. So just kind of like a little bit of fun. We also looked at using deep nostalgia, where you can upload an image, give it copy, and then the image itself will talk.
Hi, pulling on my treasured United jersey. The match day ritual begins as I head to the Bishop Blaise pub near Old Trafford, where I meet my mates 3 hours before kickoff.
Now, the purpose behind this is that's a little bit of fun. Ant's expense is a Liverpool fan, but I pretended that he's a Man U fan. But the idea behind this is that if you've got like family stories and you've got family photographs, you can just kind of bring them to life. There's ethics involved in it, and there's a whole load of research. There was recently a BBC news article about that very thing, about the ethics of bringing people back. But just as a kind of an experimentation, I felt that it was okay just for this particular version of it. Okay, so I'm going to finish off with reasoning. DeepSeek, remember DeepSeek? Anybody who's heavily into AI knows all about DeepSeek. What DeepSeek is a reasoning model that took ChatGPT, basically swiped the floor with them and forced all of the language models to introduce a new step. So when you create a prompt and it splats out the answer, it did it without any reasoning. What they've now introduced is this reasoning model that introduces an intermediate step. So it brings something in to allow you to, it talks to itself. So please create a table with fictitious sales data. That's the prompt I gave it. And the reasoning started to go through things as, okay, the user wants this. The user wants the total cost per product. Wait, maybe the code is intended. It's actually having a dialogue with itself, and it's real dialogue. This is one AI tool talking to itself before it provides the information to another AI tool that then presents the answer to you. And the output you get from using reasoning is absolutely first class. It's absolutely brilliant. So I used it. I thought I'm going to, kind of work with this, and I'm going to use Google AI Studio to do some streaming in real time. All right. So with this particular tool, all you have to do is choose a model you want to use, choose what your audio output you want, stream to your desktop, and then choose that you want to share your screen. When you do follow these steps using this model, it does this.
Hi there, can you see my Excel spreadsheet?
Yes, I can see your Excel spreadsheet. It appears to have monthly sales data for 5 different products. Is there something specific you would like to discuss about it?
Which is my top selling product?
Okay, looking at the spreadsheet, it appears that product D has the highest sales overall. Do you want me to check the sales on a monthly basis, or is the total sales enough to answer your question?
Can you help me work out how I can sum up all of the individual sales per month? Because I can only see it each month. I want to know what the figure is for the whole year. How do I do that?
Sure, I can help you with that. To get the total sales for each month, you will need to use the SUM function in Excel. Do you know how to use that function?
No, explain what I need to write and where.
Okay, to get the total sales for January, you'll need to go to an empty cell, then type equals SUM, B2, F2, and then press enter. This will sum the values from cells B2 to F2, which are the sales for January. Let me know if you have any other questions.
No, that's it. That was really helpful. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, have a great day.
So this is an illustration where you share your desktop, and whatever application you're in, you can talk to an AI tool and it will help you use that whatever's on your screen. So I was using it, and this particular recording goes on for ages, whereas he was teaching me how to create Excel formulas and how to do conditional formatting. So if you're on a steep learning curve, you can use things like Google AI Studio to help you understand how to do things. All right, let's just do a very quick roundup. We've looked at today using images, using words, using audio, and using video. We haven't necessarily looked at strategy, but we have tried to use action-oriented examples of how AI can help you get something creative out of your day-to-day using some of these brilliant tools, and a lot of them for free. Please pay if you can afford to. Don't take the first answer as the only answer. And all of these tools always work best when they're on desktop, not when you're using them on your mobile phone. You won't get the results that I've shown you today by using it on a mobile phone. Sorry, gang, but you just won't. It's as simple as that. I'm going to finish off just by saying thank you for staying with us on this, a whistle-stop tour of 103 slides. I think it's time, Ant, that we just take some questions, right?